All right, Field, I have a great idea. Going forward for our episodes, I think to get in the mind space for Forgotten Cinema, our real, like the bread and butter of the show, I think before every episode, we come down in your basement and we just beat the ever-loving crap out of each other and just say terrible things about each other. So terrible and such awful fights that we need to sign confidentiality clauses so that nothing that happens in the basement leaves the basement, Gotcha. Stuff I really have to take years to recover from.
This seems healthy.
Yeah, no, it's just like how they did in David Ayer's Fury film.
Yeah, hey. Oh, I think we're talking about Fury.
Oh, yeah, we are.
Yeah, that works out.
Ladies and gentlemen, please notice that exits are conveniently located at the front and rear of this auditorium. When leaving the theater, we suggest that the exit at the front of the auditorium will allow you easier access to the parking areas. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler.
And this is Forgotten Cinema. Each episode, we highlight a film that, for a variety of reasons, was forgotten by audiences. Whether it be another movie came out at the same time that was more popular, or this film simply didn't catch on with an audience in its initial run. We discuss what we love about the movie, or maybe don't love about it, but we always recommend you revisit it. If you enjoy Forgotten Cinema, we would love to hear from you. We are on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, obviously. If you're watching this, Facebook, we're everywhere. We have a backlog of close to 300 episodes of the main show for your listening pleasure.
Well done. I like the recovery there. I noticed some, but you did really good.
I got lost a little. Yeah, I was like, it's not that hard. Just say something.
No, you fixed it. You fixed it really well. I was like, oh, wow. That was a nice recovery.
What's going on?
Oh, nothing much. I just... As you know, I got drafted into World War II because the time machine I had malfunctioned. Yeah. I had a pretty sweet gig, though. I was a typist. Pretty sweet gig. 60 words.
The time machine is not part of the movie.
60 words per minute. I was doing okay. It was.
So you're the Logan Lerman.
Yeah, but then all of a sudden I got told, hey, listen, you're going with this tank brigade. You're going to be the new gunner on the tank, and that's just where you're going to be.
Assistant gunner.
Yeah. So with no training, really at all, I'm now gunning down Nazis in occupied Germany.
Circa 1945.
1945 toward the March of 1945, I think. April. Toward the end of the war.
Yes, indeed.
Shit's gonna get real.
Oh,
real fast.
Swearing. Interesting. That's right. We are doing the 2014 film Fury. You have to forgive us. We have not recorded in 3 weeks, so this is a little foreign for us right now.
4 weeks.
4 weeks.
The entire month.
A little bit of a summer break, so this is a little tough to get back into the groove, but I think we'll get there. So let's get started with the facts, and then we'll start talking about the movie. Fury has a runtime of 134 minutes. It's rated R. Production budget of $68 to $80 million, depending upon what you read online. It came out on October 17th, 2014. An 11-year-old film, that's right. Opening weekend, it did $23.7 million. Its domestic take was $85.8 million. Its international take was much higher, $126 million, for a worldwide total of $211.8 million. So it did better overseas, Butler. War movie, Brad Pitt.
That Brad Pitt money, I think.
Yeah.
Because I think there was another film with Brad Pitt, or maybe... Oh, no, it was American-made Tom Cruise.
Right.
It's kind of that same level, those classic Hollywood superstars,
right,
where the overseas money is just way more.
Yeah.
Even though I think both are, World War II is
there's more markets
the world,
overseas
but
too.
Yeah.
So it's not domestic is just United States. Overseas, obviously, is everywhere.
Yeah.
Production companies are Columbia Pictures, QED International, L Star Capital, L Grisby Productions, and Crave Films. And then it was distributed by Sony Pictures Releasing. So Sony. Came out on the 17th. So let's go back to the 10th of October. We had a wide release of Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day, The Judge, Dracula Untold, and Addicted. We saw Dracula together, didn't we?
We saw Dracula Untold together. I've seen
Alexander.
Parts of Alexander.
I've seen it.
That's Judge. The one with the one of the kids in that movie ended up killing his mom, right? That's the movie where one of the actors killed his mom.
Jesus, that's where you went with that movie? Yeah, that's the one with Steve Carell and Jennifer Garner. No, I have no idea about the other thing.
Maybe that was the first Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
I'm gonna go look it up now, but yeah, no, I have no idea.
And what was the other?
The Judge. The
Judge is the Robert Downey Jr. one where it's like, he's going back to real acting.
Yep.
After Iron Man. Not that Iron Man's not real acting.
I think that's what that's what he's implying.
And the only one I don't know is Addicted.
Addicted's like a wife cheats on her husband with a art guy, art dealer, artist, and breaks up the marriage, and the artist is like becomes infatuated with her. It looks really bad.
Fatal Attraction.
Pretty much.
Oh.
You also had a limited release that week of Kill the Messenger, which is the Jeremy Renner film. Dead Snow 2, Red vs. Dead. I'm sure there's a lot of fans out there for that. And Whiplash. The 17th, the movie that the weekend that this film came out, it went up against in a wide release, The Book of Life, The Best of Me, and Men, Women, and Children. And then a limited release of Rudderless, Dear White People, and Birdman. Obviously, Birdman's the big film, but it comes out wider a couple weeks from now.
Birdman and Dear White People are the only ones I recognize the names of from that.
Book of Life, I know, but the other ones, yeah, no. The 24th of October, you had a wide release of Ouija. There's a movie called John Wick that probably nobody ever remembers.
No.
23 Blast and St. Vincent, and a limited release of White Bird in a Blizzard.
Not a lot of horror films.
Ouija?
That October, yeah.
Ouija's the horror film.
Which did like no business.
Really?
I remember.
Dracula Untold's a horror action.
Oh yeah, it's horror action.
Yeah.
I remember liking it and then not liking it. Like coming out of the theater
Untold?
going, that was fun. And then like a few hours later going, I don't think it was
Ouija
fun.
or Dracula?
Dracula.
Oh, okay, yeah. Now Dracula Untold's all right. This film, Fury, was written and directed by David Ayer. He has done End of Watch, Suicide Squad, the first one before they did the Suicide Squad, A Working Man, which is his most recent film. He's written U571, Fast and the Furious, Training Day. Cinematographer was Roman Vasilyanov, who has done Triple Frontier, Bright, and Charlie Countryman. Composer was Stephen Price, who won an Oscar for Gravity. He's also done Last Night in Soho and Attack the Block. Edited by Jay Cassidy and Dodie Dorn. Cassidy has done Into the Wild, Silver Linings Playbook, and American Hustle, for which he was nominated for all three. And Dorn has done Memento, which he was nominated for, Insomnia, and the Rebel Moon movies. I have seen those. So yeah. Sorry.
You saw both of them?
I did. I saw the first one and I was like, I gotta watch the second one.
He just said on an interview I was just reading that he doesn't know if he's gonna get to do his third one or if he even wants to.
Oh no. This movie was produced by David Ayer, who's also produced Birds of Prey and that whole big thing. I'm not gonna say it. And then he executive produced Bosco and Ready for War. It's also produced by Bill Block, John Lesher, and Ethan Smith. Block has done The Holdovers, which I love, Halloween Kills, and Elysium. Lesher has done Birdman, which he won an Oscar because it won the Best Picture Oscar. And he did The Pale Blue Eye, which I keep telling you to watch on Netflix. Ethan Smith has done the TV show Ironheart and Rock the Casbah.
Pale Blue Eye is the
Christian Bale,
Edgar Allan Poe one. Okay, yeah. I do want to watch
Christian
that.
Bale? Yes. This film stars Brad Pitt. Hey, we talked about that already. He plays Don War Daddy Collier. Won an Oscar for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood for acting. He's also won an Oscar for 12 Years a Slave, which is a producing Oscar because it won Best Picture.
Mm-hmm.
He's been nominated for an Oscar for Moneyball, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, 12 Monkeys, and The Big Short. Shia LaBeouf as Boyd Bible Swan from Transformers, The Peanut Butter Falcon, and Honey Boy. Logan Lerman as Norman Machine Ellison. They can name him Machine like maybe 3/4 away from the movie. Yep. The Perks of Being a Wallflower, the TV show Hunters, and 3:10 to Yuma.
A movie we did.
Hey, there you go.
Third, fourth season, a long time ago.
A while ago.
Yeah.
Single-digit seasons, yeah. Michael Peña as Trini Gordy Garcia from American Hustle, the Ant-Man series, and he's in the season 4 Jack Ryan. Jon Bernthal as Grady Coon as Travis. We're just going to call him Grady. From The Wolf of Wall Street, the Accountant series, and the TV show The Punisher. And then those are the main cast. You have other people in the cast like Jason Isaacs as Captain Wagner from Harry Potter, obviously, and the Patriots in the season 3 of White Lotus. You had Sergeant Binkowski as Jim Perrick. I'm sorry. Jim Perrick plays Sergeant Binkowski. Sorry, I have these backwards. He's in the TV show True Blood. He's also in Suicide Squad. You had Brad Henke as Sergeant Davis. These are the guys, the sergeants are the guys that run the other tanks.
Yeah.
Henke's in Choke, The Frozen Ground, and Pacific Rim. Scott Eastwood's in there. He's a Sergeant Miles, but he's the guy that's leading the troops.
Yeah, I feel like he must have a lot of cut scenes because it seems like at the beginning they kind of focus on him. Mm-hmm. The camera pull focus on the camera to him, but then he doesn't really do much. Yeah.
He's in The Fate and the Furious and Texas Chainsaw. Xavier Samuel as Lieutenant Parker, who's an Elvis and Blonde. He's the one, I believe, that is giving them the orders when they're like, they laugh him off and he's like,
oh, the younger one that leads the first tank.
Yeah. And then the only people in the movie that I guess kind of
stand out or have more.
Yeah, the two women they meet, Emma and Irma. Emma is played by Alicia von Rittberg. She's in the TV show Becoming Elizabeth. And then Irma, who's her cousin, is Anna Maria Rinka. Sorry, she's in Europa Report, and then 4 months, 3 weeks, and 2 days. There you go. That's the cast.
Nice.
And I'm done. See you later. All right, Butler. When we first chose this film, we had both seen it. I don't even know if we saw it together. We
didn't. I think we saw Dracula Untold, and then we saw it separately.
Okay. So I know that you initially had said, "Oh, I remember seeing." Correct me if I'm wrong, but you said, "I remember seeing this film, but not liking it." Yes. But then you put it on the list. You tell them, this is you talking to me. You put it on the list. And I think, well, maybe this is good. I want to go back to it. Like, it was like one of those things.
Yeah.
Okay. As we'll get to what you think. As I'm watching this film, and then when I start taking the notes, I'm like, I think he's not going to like this film still. Because this is me guessing, right? Just because of certain factors within the movie and knowing. I think
talking
with you for I mean, obviously, we've talked movies ever since we've known each other, but talking to you since we started this podcast over movies, I kind of get a sense why you don't like this film. So go ahead.
I actually, so it's the scene when Jon Bernthal goes into the house, obviously is.
Well, okay.
That was one of my big, because like I don't like awkward scenes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's not where you were going?
Go ahead.
Okay.
No.
So that was my big thing why I didn't like the movie. It's I don't like cringeworthy scenes. Like it's hard for me to watch The Office. We talk about it all the time. Just certain things where it's just like so cringeworthy they just want to hide in a hole. And just like that, I just remember not liking anybody in the film. But so I did come out of Fury saying it was a well-made film, but I really didn't like it. But I did put it on the list. I think you chose this week. But I did put it on the list. I actually came out of my watch. I watched it last night. I really like this film. The things that I didn't like before, because I'm prepared for it. I've seen it, and probably because my memory of it was a lot worse. Just because, like, you sit with it and go like, oh, that scene was like way awkward, or this is like going to be uncomfortable. It's like you prepare for the worst, so it's not as bad. It wasn't something I felt like those scenes were needed. They worked. They told the story. They weren't just awkward or uncomfortable and kind of messed up for no reason. I feel like the film really did explore this crew really well. It did kind of humanize them. I felt like I liked this a lot more than I did the first time I saw it. I'm not saying this film is perfect. I especially have issues toward the end, but I do like this film quite a bit. I think all the actors do a great job. It's not Saving Private Ryan level good. But it is a very well made film. It's very good. And I think it does a good job of showing, like I put in my story, I think the whole thing that this film exemplifies is the quote that War Daddy says about midway through the film. He says, idealism is
ideals are peaceful.
History is violent. And I think that that's what this film shows. It's like you can show the heroes of World War II and exemplify like, oh, bravery and valor and honor, and we're doing the right thing. And you are, but to get there, it's terrible things have to happen. Like he says, a lot of people have to die first before this war ends.
Right.
And that's just, he says it very matter of factly, not that it's good, not that it's bad. And I think this film does a good job of showing that lesson. So I actually like this quite a bit more this watch than I did. But now I'm curious why you thought I didn't like it if it wasn't for that.
I was thinking that you weren't going to like it because of the stuff that happened outside of the film set, like the stuff that was happening, how they prepared for the movie, and just kind of. Oh,
I don't like that either, but I didn't know about that until after I had seen the film, so it didn't affect my first watch where I was a big fan. Okay, that still affects me. Like I still don't think that's necessary. Totally necessary, but I think maybe you needed a little bit of that. So I believe it probably went to crazy extremes that it never needed to go to.
Right.
Obviously, we'll also talk about Shia LaBeouf in the movie and his whole deal. But yeah, I think that like in Saving Private Ryan, they did a similar thing where Matt Damon didn't have to train with everybody else, and they left him out with the boot camp. And I think a similar thing to that is needed here, where Norman's got to be the outsider and stuff like that.
Sure,
they need to have this camaraderie. But I think that the film probably went way too far in terms of their behind the scenes stuff.
The filmmaking stuff.
Yeah.
So one of the things that a lot of the notes that I had were how they, just preparing for the movie, not even just before they got there, but during the filming and on set. So before they got there, I know they did the boot camp. They always do the boot camp, and they had to run through a they had to work, run through a tank exercise. They had
month-long tank training.
They had to do a combat exercise within the tank. They lived in the tank where they were. Did you see that? Where they had to eat, go to the bathroom. They were just in the tank for a while. This is all the actors. And then when they're on the set, when they start doing the movie, I guess there was Ayer had the actors they would fight each other before they would shoot the scenes
physically and verbally,
right, to tighten their bond. They had to all agree to some kind of. They say they agreed to the confidentiality. I don't think they signed anything. I think they all agreed to not talk about what is said or done on set,
I suppose.
And then you have Logan Lerman later on talking about how there was he's still recovering from some of the wounds and stuff like that. That just seems like a little too much. I mean, I understand what you're trying to do. I get it. I get it. And I guess you can make an argument that, look, what you see on screen is a direct result of that or an indirect result of that. Okay, fine.
That's why I think you need a little bit of it. I think that some of that, push people around, get mad, give him a noogie or kind of do a mosh pit kind of thing. Get it. But then if they go to that kind of extreme physical, real physical violence and real, that is not necessary. If you're a good actor, you should be able to get there without doing that.
But it's also you're crossing a line, and it's a slippery slope, because if you're just crossing a line because you're it's for the performance, okay. But at what point do you stop? At what point? Some people don't understand. For instance, I have a note that said that producers had security guards with giant Rottweiler dogs.
Oh, I saw it. To stop people from taking
pictures while they were shooting. It's see, that to me stems from David Ayer, and he's a producer, stems from what you're doing on set to get your actors ready. That all comes from that to me. And that's not, you don't need to do that.
I like David Ayer's films generally. And I think he's a very good writer, but I do think he comes across in interviews. And again, this is coming across in interviews. I don't know how he is as a person, as not a wannabe tough guy. Maybe he is a tough guy, but he's got that I'm gruff, so that's my thing. So now my sets are gruff, kind of I don't think that's necessary. Mm-hmm. And you're bringing this overt, or I don't want to say false sense of machismo, but this your own personal sensibility of what machismo is into the set, where it's just violence and just, I don't know, negativity. You're just putting it out there for no reason.
It's almost
like method acting for directors.
Yeah. And it's not, and you probably have to have your own people around you in terms of who you work with that understand that. It's not really it's probably not the healthiest of sets to be on. I'm sure. I'm sorry, but your crew is what? 200 strong. I'm sure not every person on the crew is in love with that style of filmmaking.
No. I
have a quote from him where he's I am ruthless as a director. I will do whatever I think is necessary to get what I want. It's that's just a recipe for David Ayer's allegations of this.
Exactly.
That's you're going down a road that is very dangerous to walk, especially now in these days.
And do you have any other actors that come back to your films after they've done one movie with you?
Pitt. But Pitt likes that stuff. I think Pitt's into that stuff.
What movie has he done with David?
He's coming out with one.
Oh,
There's
okay.
Another one coming out.
I was going to say, what would he have done afterward?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think that's necessary. I mean, I've talked on the film a bunch of times about method acting. I don't believe you need to do it. I mean, I do believe in the method acting of learning the trade, going out there, the boot camp.
What's his face? Daniel Day-Lewis learning how to cobble.
When he learned how to cobble, I thought that was cool. It adds a realism. You have the ability to. I think that's one of the perks of being an actor in a big movie. Robert De Niro and Matt Damon learning boxing for their roles. Matt Damon learned boxing for professional boxing for The Bourne Identity, just because Doug Liman thought boxers walk with a certain confidence that he liked. And I was like, that's really cool. That's a perk. It's just a really cool perk of just you want me to do it, so I get to do it.
That's learning that craft.
Exactly.
That's not
becoming it.
Yeah.
Because then Daniel Day-Lewis will go on set and start starting fights with people or making them call him Mr. Lincoln or Mr. President on set. And it's that's dumb. Or Wesley Snipes being I'm Blade when I'm on the set. No, dude. Are you sucking blood? Here, I got you this pig's blood. The craft surface table is not for you. This pig's blood is for you. You're a vampire. I just think it's silly. You're playing pretend professionally. And if you're good enough, you don't need all that.
Right.
But I think the boot camp stuff's good. Puts you in that mentality. I think, Brad Pitt said that they were eating rations and sleeping in the mud and kind of camping out. And I think that gives you that mentality. I think that's good. Familiarizing yourself with the tank because you live in it. The stuff you're acting is real. But your emotion, your lines, the ability to deliver your character, that's something you work on internally and or through rehearsals. You don't need to become this person. Regardless of how violent it got on set, regardless of how verbally or physically abusive it got on set, you'll never have gone through what these guys went through in the tank. So what are you doing?
Yeah.
What is this proving? I don't like that.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. It's just a very dangerous path to walk down.
Yeah.
Because you can get yourself into a world of trouble, but whatever. I mean, let's talk about Shia LaBeouf.
Now let's go to another version of trouble.
Speaking of that, obviously you talked about it a little bit. He cut his face while he's pulled his own tooth out during this movie.
He still got the scar. You can like when he acts,
he didn't get along with anybody on set because then they had him in cast or crew and they put him
his own hotel.
And I think I mean we talked about it a little bit off camera. I think a lot of it probably has to do with probably more of his internal struggles with himself and just in terms of
I think the mid 2010s is kind of when all that stuff was coming out about him and he was dealing with all that.
Yeah. So I mean you can't really.
He's a broken man. And no excuse for his behavior.
I think he was good in the movie. Very good.
I think he was great in the movie.
Yeah. But, hey, we all have our demons. Yeah. And he was clearly probably fighting those during this time.
I don't think I've seen it. I don't like every movie he's in, but I do generally think he's very good. He's
very charismatic on camera. He's very good. I've told you a couple of times I've seen a bunch of, he's got a new one out that I haven't seen yet, Henry Johnson, that I want to watch. But, everything I've seen him in, obviously in terms of post, I guess, indie, because that's kind of like where everything after
that's where he started to slide. Yeah,
has been really good. And Peanut Butter Falcon's really good. He's good in that. So I've liked him and stuff. I know he's fighting some demons, but we're not here for that. We're here for the movie itself. So I want to go back to the scene you talked about that you thought was awkward, which was the scene in the apartment. When they go in there and first it's War Daddy and it's Norman and they're in there and he's having her make her eggs and then Norman sleeps with the Emma and then they're about to eat and then the rest of the crew comes up, which doesn't make sense how they would find them, but whatever, they all come upstairs.
Well, they're probably just looking. It doesn't seem like a big town, so they probably looked through.
Yeah, but they start marching up the stairs
like they already know.
Yeah, like they knew they were there. You don't know they were there.
They might, yeah.
Regardless, they come up and they just kind of cause a scene. They're drunk. They kind of cause a scene and they're just like whatever. My thing with that scene is I don't understand the dynamic of the crew and War Daddy. Like he's their commanding officer. And I don't understand how they think they're okay to talk the way they talk to him when they come up there. Like, I don't understand that. I guess it's the end of the war. Maybe that's just how he, Don or War Daddy has kind of led his troops to allow them to talk like this.
I think, it's been 4 years for them probably because they've come up through Africa. So I imagine it's been probably 4 years.
Yeah. And I don't get why there's stuff where like he's staring at Bible, which is LaBeouf's character. And Bible's just like
crying,
glaring at him, like jealous, obviously, because he's taking a shine to Norman.
I think, because they both were good men. Norman and Bible are good men. Obviously, Bernthal's character, I don't want to say his nickname. I can't remember. Grady is an animal. Like he says, you're an animal at the beginning. And Gordo is just kind of a drunk. But Bible was clearly a good man before the war started. And he kind of alludes to that with Norman. And I think that War Daddy didn't really give him that kind of allowance to keep his soul.
Right.
And he's kind of mad that Norman is being given these opportunities to keep his soul.
Right. And knowing that, but also knowing that they don't have this backstory in there where that Norman's supposed to remind him of his brother.
All that stuff was cut out, which I think would have helped a lot.
So the when you see the scars on War Daddy's back in that scene, on Don's back, what that is from, it's supposed to be from, there is a cut scene and there is a story where that he is driving his car with his girlfriend and his brother,
fiance and
his brother, and it crashed
after running for the police.
Right, and his brother's supposed to be someone who's just either has the same name, has the name Norman, and like they both die. That's where the scars come from, and then the judge is like, either you go die for your country or you're going to go to jail. So that's why he joined. So but knowing that, when you read the notes. And then when you go back and watch the movie again, that makes the way he talks with Norman, how he's rough with him, but then he can make sure you eat, that whole thing when he tries to get him to shoot the Nazi.
Yeah.
And then make sure you get something to eat. Like all that stuff, like he's taking care of him.
But I got the eating thing though. He says it to the whole crew. Cause he says
it to him.
He says it to him, but even Grady's like, you better eat. You better make sure he watch. Like he's done it to Grady and everybody.
Well, he
gets that kind of
treatment. Maybe he knows that how he is, but the fact that comes right after the scene where he's like hard on Norman, like all that stuff is shaded with this story that is not shown in the movie. Yeah. And I wish that that in the film.
I have two notes that kind of go with that. And my first note is what's up with the name Norman? Because in the scene where he says his name's Norman, he has a reaction to it.
He says, of course it is, or something like that.
He's like, oh, of course. Yeah. And it's like, what? I was like, what? And then the other note was after I watched the movie, I didn't pull up the notes until after I watched the movie. As the credits were rolling, my thought was the movie needed a scene with Brad Pitt's character like Tom Hanks had. The name, right? I don't care. You know who I am back home?
Right. Okay.
I'm a math teacher from Brooklyn, Maine. When I say that, people are like, yep, that figures. But here it's a big mystery. And I'm like, that's one of my favorite scenes in all Spielberg films. I love that scene in that monologue. I actually used that to audition once.
Nice. Did you get the part?
I did.
Nice.
And I think that Brad Pitt's character kind of needed that because like you say, like the way he's like fatherly to everybody, like maybe that's why he got the name War Daddy. He is more like a dad than a commanding officer.
Sure.
And all that backstory would have really helped a lot of their relationship and Bible and Norman. And it would have just helped a little bit to know all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was a missed opportunity. The movie's only 2:15. And when you have a historical epic, you can push that to 2:30.
Oh man, I don't know if I could do 2:30 of this film. 2:15 was a good length.
2:15, but I mean, I don't even think it would be 2:30 just to add that conversation. It's just a little bit more of that same one where like, look at the city's burning. Apparently, right after that, he then talks about the other stuff.
Yeah.
So it would maybe 5 minutes, 2:20. I don't know. I think it would have been necessary for the film.
Do you think that this movie is plot driven or character driven?
Character driven.
Yeah.
Their missions don't really affect or drive the story.
You keep saying Saving Private Ryan, and like they're on a mission.
That mission Ryan. Affects everything. Right. Yeah,
obviously to save Private Ryan.
These are three disparate missions that are just kind of
them.
affecting the tank.
It's not like they're trying to get to the end of the war or anything like that. They're just going where they're supposed to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stop the supply line, do this, get the crossroads. Yeah. Every mission is different of the three missions they have to do.
Okay. So you think, I agree with you.
It's character driven for
absolutely.
Sure. Oh, but that scene when Grady, Gordo, and Bible come in.
Yeah.
I really like again, that was one of the reasons I was like, one of the reasons I wasn't a huge fan of the movie the first time I saw it was just how uncomfortable, and I didn't think it was necessary. But this time it wasn't uncomfortable, and I love that it's I mean, obviously Grady apologizes for his behavior later on in the movie, but I think that the scene when they talk about the horses and stuff, when Gordo starts talking about what they do with the horses, kind of helps shape like why they are the way they are. That they were maybe not as good as Norman, but they were all regular people at one point until these horrors happen. And like that story with the horses is just like, holy crap, like right from the beginning, finding a field of horses, and they just spent days murdering horses so the Germans couldn't use them, and like making them scream, becoming their friends first.
I think they were shooting them all. I think they were killing them because they were all shot and they had to kill humanely. I think I thought they were killing the horses so that the Germans couldn't use them. No, because they were all laying on the. That's what I thought. I didn't think they were going around.
I thought they were just killing horses.
Well, if that's the case, that's terrible.
Yeah. And they had to you have to be friends first and pet them and then shoot them in the back of the spine. You ever hear horses scream? And it's just it's like horrible stuff. And that that was right after they invaded Normandy. So it's just like, obviously, so they went through Africa and then they got there, but it's still like for a long time, they've been in this hell, just absolutely terrible conditions. And that's what made them the way they are. And I think that's Norman obviously still is angry at Grady, and obviously when Grady pulls him off from when Emma dies and stuff like that. But I think that shades Norman, and like Bible's crying and everybody's like, it helps the audience to understand that these aren't, a bunch of assholes that we've been dealing with for probably a good hour and 15 minutes up to that point, that they they became this through what they saw. And I think that monologue and that story, I think is very necessary on my second watch to the characters to help really cement that it's a character piece.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where I'm going with this.
I don't know where you're going.
I'm just like keep going.
I'm listening.
But I think it's just a really necessary talk about like that helps drive that character piece that we were mentioning, and that actually, you know, if that was cut out of the film and like obviously the first time I watched it I was awkward, but if that wasn't in there, even the first time I watched it, the movie wouldn't have been great at all.
Mm-hmm.
I think you need that scene that I hated the first time.
Well, it's an important scene. It's them together outside of the tank. And
that's the only real time you ever get to see them outside the tank together anyway.
Yeah, no, it's true. That's true. They're always in the tank. Yeah. No, it's talking about them, the characters themselves. I don't think that they ever wanted to leave the war. I think they expected to die while in combat, because I don't think that their civilian lives
would have been. I was thinking that same thing.
No,
they would all have been completely ruined. Yeah.
There's no,
with the exception of maybe Norman, because
maybe
he hadn't
maybe Bible would, because he's got the Lord with him, and he might turn into like a little bit of a preacher somewhere. But still,
that's the only thing
they're all damaged beyond
repair. Pretty much.
Yeah, because they're just they've. It's not so much, war obviously is hell, but it's not just that. It's just that they almost embraced it and it broke them, and they're just, I don't think they're fixable.
Yeah 100%. Behind the scenes note I really liked was that Michael Peña actually did all the stunt driving for the tank.
That's cool.
I thought that was neat.
Did you like that Shia LaBeouf and Scott Eastwood almost got into a fight?
I did like that note,
because Eastwood's character was supposed to spit on the tank, and LaBeouf thought that was disrespectful, and then they had got into words, and Pitt had to break him up, and then he realized it was part of the script, and
he had to be told, no, he was supposed to spit on it.
Yeah, so that must have been fun. But again, what's that stemming from? What we talked about before, just the fact that you're pushed to
riling them up before every shot.
Yeah,
you're creating a rabid dog.
Yeah. What did you think of? And maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Bernthal is doing an accent.
Oh, he's doing like a southern.
Do you like it? I always ask you about the accents.
Not really, because I think he loses it sometimes during more important scenes. And I get that it's more important to tell the scene than to keep your accent like it's still an American accent at least. Mm-hmm. But he does lose. I think he loses on some of that drawl. Like at the beginning, he is super like really, really like an Arkansas boy, and then he like kind of. You never see this, and he's just got his own kind of.
It kind of comes out in the scene we've been talking about for 20 minutes inside his accent kind of shows through a little bit in terms of what he's trying to do in that apartment scene. I hear.
Yeah,
but yeah,
and then every once in a while it kind of goes away.
Yeah,
so it's okay when he's doing it. It's okay, but it seems to like drop.
Yeah. A couple of things that stood out to me were some of the visuals. Like the opening shot's a really nice shot when the course comes over the horizon, the German soldiers walking, and then War Daddy gets them and kills them. Like that's a nice shot. And to start the movie, I like the planes in the sky.
Oh, the planes in the sky.
That's
shot
a really
is
nice
awesome,
shot. Yeah. The battles between the tanks are really good. When they fight the Tiger tank is really good.
Yes, that's
and
a
the
great
other
scene.
One. The only thing I like when that guy gets when one of the sergeants gets obliterated by the tank shell, just completely takes his head off and torso off.
Oh.
But one of the questions I want to ask you is not the Tiger tank scene, but there was the other time when they were fighting the tanks and the tanks were shooting at them when they in the tree line.
Oh, in the tree line in the trenches.
And even when they get to the town, that one tank is hiding in the storefront. And it shoots.
Was that a tank or a mortar?
Whatever.
Whatever
was hiding in the storefront. Are they that? My question was, are we that good? Or like is Fury and all these guys that good? Or are the Germans this bad at shooting? Because every time they shot, boom, ricochet. They couldn't even line up the tank, even especially the first tank scene, the first tank fight when they're in the tree line and they're coming at them. Like they shot at them point blank like 4 or 5 times and they missed them every time. And then Fury and them fight and they get them, boom, boom, get it, boom, and they get them. They're done in like 2 shots or something like that. So I didn't know if like, is the United States tank group that good and the Germans are that bad, or is it just plot?
I think it's a little bit of plot and the fact that these Americans have been through the war the entire time, and these Germans are the ones that Hitler was just kind of like, get out there, go now, because they don't fight the SS until really the very end.
The Tiger tank is obviously an accomplished crew.
Yeah, they do a good job.
But even the SS at the end,
they're terrible. It's one tank. I mean, I'm glad a whole bunch of Nazis died, especially the SS, but it's just like, you guys suck.
Yeah, let's just run at it.
Immediately take out the rockets. After he guns down the first group, get the rocket launchers. You're waiting toward the end for the rockets?
Well, those are the ones that can go through the tank's armor.
Panzer rockets. Yeah, whatever.
The first one cuts through
the tank and
Grady's gut. It goes right through him. Yeah, yep. And then apparently they die in the order of when they agree to come back to the tank.
Order, which I thought was cool. I was like, when I read that, I was like, oh yeah, that's kind of neat.
Yeah.
I think part of it's plot, and then part of it's just that, like they said at the beginning, it's civilians, women, children, whoever they're recruiting. So the guys that are not in the tanks aren't very well trained.
Yeah.
But then, like you said, once they're in the Tiger tank, they're shooting the heads off the commander, like direct shots.
Yeah. There's definitely some bloody deaths in this movie.
Very gruesome.
But it's war, and that's what ends up happening. There's a lot of different stories in terms of what this is based on. Some people claim it's based on the story of Second Lieutenant Audie Murphy, who kind of held off a German attack within
the 50 cal on the top of the tank.
And they talked about that, and that became its own movie. I'm pretty sure that came up with Cagney. Then there was one. I guess there was another one where it was a Korean War, something like that, but it wasn't American, it was a Korean.
It was a Korean soldier defending against North Koreans over a bridge.
But then there's a note that says that this film, that Ayer was influenced by members of his family who were in the service, and then books, and then like Belton Cooper's Death Traps book. It was like a memoir from '98. It talks about how tank crews had high casualty rates, so that was part of the whole idea is that the German tanks were better made than the American tanks, but they took longer to make. So the American tanks were just mass produced. They had more
assembly line,
but they were not as durable or as
at the expense of having more casualty ratings. They could pump out a ton of these tanks.
Right,
the German tanks were tanks, but you had to build them by hand.
So that was interesting. I've got some reviews for you, Butler.
Lay them on
Since
me.
you liked this movie, maybe I should give you the bad ones.
Because you thought I'd still not like it?
No, I usually get one.
Right,
if there's enough reviews, I usually get a couple of each.
Tell me what Ebert thought. Oh, wait, he was dead by then.
Jeez, Butler. Yikes.
Sorry. Okay.
Peter de Bruges of Variety said, Brad Pitt plays a watered-down version of his Inglourious Bastards character in this disappointingly bland look at a World War II tank crew.
Bland?
Disappointingly
depressing?
Bland. Disappointingly bland.
Depressing, I guess, but I don't know about bland. I do think there are some similarities to the way he plays War Daddy and the way he plays. I can't remember the name of his character in Inglourious Bastards, but not like just in terms of he's the hardened colonel in a World War II, like the hardened leader of a World War II group. But it's not exactly the same.
But I think Brad Pitt is not. He's not a character actor. He's a movie star. He's going to be himself, or his version of him in all these movies. So yeah. David Edelstein of New York Magazine says, though much of Fury crumbles in the mind, the power of its best moments lingers. The writhing of Ellison as he's forced to kill, the frightening vibe of the scene with German women, the meanness on some soldiers' faces, and soul sickness on others.
Yeah, I guess. What's he trying to say?
I have no idea.
He's just describing the movie. Yeah, I mean, it's good.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing I really don't like about the movie is like the ending in the tank scene gets a little ridiculous in some things. Like it's just like how many German soldiers they kill, the action some of them take. I was reading a note and it was the same thought I had. Why didn't they just put all the ammo inside of the tank? Oh, we got to go outside real quick and grab the ammo boxes.
Yeah.
You stocked all the grenades inside. Why didn't you put the ammo boxes inside?
Yeah, and they're getting bombarded, but but when they go out there, they've got, I guess everyone's not out there now. They're all like running and hiding because then Bible goes off, starts fighting somebody.
Yeah.
And not like he's not surrounded by 6 other. It's really odd.
I think they it's like they didn't have enough extras that day. So you don't really see 300 people. You see groups of 10 at a time.
Yeah.
It's just very, very weird. And it becomes nighttime immediately.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
it's like,
yeah,
it's cloudy. Nope. It was dusk. No, I don't remember it being dusk.
And speaking of that scene, the end of the scene when Norman's hiding under the tank and the German soldier goes under there, he sees him, right?
Oh, he sees him.
So then why doesn't he say anything?
I don't know.
Yeah.
The thing is like, because he's also a young kid. But one, all of his crewmates and friends supposedly were shot. And then when he gets up, he actually has a bullet wound in the leg.
Yeah, I know.
I really feel like someone who just got shot and whose friends were shot is probably going to be like, this guy probably killed my friends.
Yeah.
He's hiding under here.
Yeah.
I don't see him, especially he's an SS officer. He's not one of the civilians. He's given him up.
Yeah.
I don't believe that for a second.
I didn't get that. I didn't understand that. So, Butler, who you recommending this to?
Anybody likes war films. I think that this is worth watching. I think there's enough action in it with the drama that I think anybody who likes war films can find something to watch or something to like in it. I think as we move forward in time, and this is just something that happens, we're going to get less and less World War II movies. I think that, although I think the only reason we get as many as we do now in general is because it's easy to make a Nazi a bad guy. I think that's why you don't see a lot of the Pacific theater of war, because that's a little more muddy, politically muddy, a little dirtier. It's easy to make Nazis bad guys. But we're getting so far away from World War II, you're just going to start seeing less of those films. And I think this is a good one. I think it's so much of it is like, clearly you read the notes about this scene is taken from this picture or this war video and this, that they took a lot from history, used real museum tanks, real like researched costumes. There's a lot of authenticity, I feel, in this movie that we're going to start getting away from as we march further in time and it becomes just a memory. And I think that it's a really good World War II movie and might be the last or one of the last big good World War II movies we'll get.
You may get some. Yeah, I think you'll still get one or two. I think you'll still get stuff like that.
I don't know if they'll be as you go forward, I don't know how good or accurate or they'll be, but I just think you'll get less and less, or they'll be way more spaced out. So I think this is a good example. But I think other than that, I don't know if I could recommend this to anybody else because it is dark. It is depressing. It's
a guy movie. It's a dude movie. It's
a guy movie because it's something that, not that like, it's a guy movie, only guys are going to understand, but I think only a majority of males are going to really appreciate that male bond thing that's going on, that kind of ripping on everybody and how males bond.
Well, maybe that they don't understand. They won't be turned off as much by it as opposed to somebody who's not into that.
Yeah. I just think that's there. And I think you talked about you never wanted to join the military or whatever, but I think that
wasn't my thing.
Those concepts of valor and honor and thing and fighting, it's just going to be kind of a very focused audience for the most part.
Sure.
And I think that makes it harder to recommend. And also, do kids care about World War II?
I don't know. It's history. If you like history, care.
It's like history buffs. What about you?
Who I want to recommend it to?
Yeah.
It's a good film. It's a solid film. I think I always tend to think of other filmmakers and people that love movies and stories and stuff like that.
The 2:15 runtime's good.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't think it's a casual. If you like Brad Pitt, it's definitely a rough film, like in terms of like not rough like a rough watch, but a dirty film, a dirty movie. Like it's a war film, so it's meant to be that way.
Yeah.
So I think Saving Private Ryan, while Saving Private Ryan has romantic elements in it, just in terms of, I still think that's gritty and dark, but there's more of a story in Saving Private Ryan. So there's more of a hero to root for.
Yeah, it's a more heroic type film.
Right. It's a more of a classic Hollywood style, old 50s and 60s, classical war movie being told, story being told. That film compared to this film is more of a rough, in the dirt kind of,
there are
sloppy,
no heroes,
messy.
kind of.
Yeah. And there's tons of other films like that out there that I can't think of off the top of my head, but that are war films that are like that. Platoon's a little like that. Platoon's not a great. A lot of the Vietnam movie
Black Hawk Down
war films. Any kind of, other than World War II, Vietnam War, the Gulf War, a lot of those
War,
wars.
Middle East.
There's a lot of political elements that are into that. So it kind of muddies that up. And we talked about that a lot with the our episode. What's the movie we did? I always forget it. The Killing Fields.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of other factors that go along with it. The World War II is, white hat, black hat, bad guys, good guys, you know who they are, kind of thing. Like you talked about before. I'm just reiterating what you said. So then why is it forgotten? Because what we just said?
Because of what we just said.
With recommending it to people?
the tighter audience. I think that, because it's such a gritty thing and there's no heroes, it's a harder watch. It's harder to recommend. It's harder for people to just kind of get into when you hear about word of mouth, what the movie's kind of like. You can't just stream it anywhere. I think that hurts, especially like a war film that's not like a happier film. People are looking for more escapism in their at least their rentals probably. But if it's streaming, they might click on it, or hey, you watch this, now watch this, kind of a recommended streaming kind of a thing. And Brad Pitt's just got so many movies that it's just like, if you're looking for a Brad Pitt movie, it's like there's always a new Brad Pitt movie to watch.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably why.
All right. Where can they find us?
You can find us at ForgottenCinemaPodcast.com or wherever you get your podcast. Wherever you're listening or watching us, rate, subscribe. What's your favorite World War II film? What's your favorite, really gritty war film that might not take place during World War II? Let us know in the comments below. And if you like what we see here, check us out. Every Wednesday, we put out a new regular episode. We've got now showings. We've got lead ups. If you want to join our Patreon, we've got look backs. We've got merch in our merch store. We've got all this good stuff. Help support the show. Everything you're doing helps. Recommend it to friends. Thank you so much for watching.
Yeah, and join us next week, guys. We're actually going to the 70s for a comedy, 1977 movie Slapshot starring Paul Newman. You've never seen it, right?
I know of it, but I've never seen it.
It's I worry that we're going to be doing quotes from it, but it's it's very funny. It's a very funny film. Hopefully you like it. That's next week. Until then, I'm Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler.
And this has been Forgotten Cinema.